Welcome to the Internet Linux Users Group. This is meeting number 6, everybody. And today I have my friend Tyler with me here, another admin in the group. Say hello, everyone, this evening, Tyler.
Hello. Hello.
Alrighty, everybody. So that's Tyler. Today, this is meeting number 7. So we've had a couple bad weeks. So it's been crazy. Last week, I took my mom out for her birthday and didn't realize I wouldn't be back until later. And yeah, so I had to cancel because of that. So sorry about last week. The week before, I don't even remember why we had to cancel. But anyways, we're back this week, everybody. And hopefully we're going to try and get back to our regular scheduled meetings every week. We just had a couple of weeks here that's kind of made that hard to do. So anyways, this is meeting number 7. So we added a news segment this week where we talk about Linux news and group news. I thought that was a good idea. And so being the group owner and having no objections from admins, I said, let's do it. So we're going to give that a try. And we're going to give that a try and see how it goes. But anyways, so this is meeting number 7. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the news here. But I would like to point out one thing. If you would like to be a guest speaker, we're going to touch on this a little more later. But please, we need guest speakers very badly because we're supposed to have one every meeting, and we sure don't have them. So if you'd like to volunteer to do a guest talk, please submit one. Until then, you're just going to have to listen to me and Tyler do a talk every week. This week's talk, This week, we're not going to have a talk. We're just going to talk about the 2 main topics this week, both Microsoft related. So let's get into the news. So Linux news.
Right into the news.
Yes, right into the news. So
I'm sorry for that.
You're fine. Anyways, first off, Microsoft is to acquire GitHub for $7.5 billion. That's from their own blog, folks. By the way, I'll have links to these sources on our webpage. Not on our webpage, sorry, but on our description of the YouTube video after the recording is up. So if you want those links, you don't have to type them in from the URLs on the screen there. Anyways, so let's talk about that. So what do you think about Microsoft buying GitHub?
It's Microsoft. Do we have to say much more?
True. Microsoft messes up everything that they buy. They bought Skype. They messed up that. The only thing they ain't messed up so far that they bought is Minecraft. But I'm sure that they're working on it.
They don't do much in that, so...
Yeah, it's already perfected, and they pretty much just don't do anything with it. Me and Tyler both play Minecraft occasionally. Well, Tyler 24/7, me occasionally.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Where is this thing saying that it's... oh, never mind. I see where it is.
Anyways, so... Microsoft buying GitHub, my thoughts on it is pretty simple. It's Microsoft. It's basically the same thing as Tyler. It's really horrible, I think. GitHub was the place where pretty much everybody put open source code, and I really don't like the idea of Microsoft basically running the largest repo of open source software pretty much in the world. Just doesn't something that sets well with me, right? I mean, if it was Google, I would not even flinch. I'd be like, they're pretty good supporters of open source. I have no reason not to trust them. They haven't done nothing in the past that gives me reason not to trust them. Yeah, they're a big company, but hey, you know, they open source a lot of their stuff. They've never really done anything bad to the open source community, so, you know, whatever. But this is Microsoft we're talking about here, and Microsoft is Microsoft. There's just really nothing good to say about that, and so it's an issue, right? I have an issue with that. So a lot of people's moving to GitLab. But the thing, I've said this a lot to people, you know, you don't put your eggs in one basket. You know, that's why I have a private Git server for a lot of my stuff that I maintain myself on a VPS and run. And doesn't matter how much Microsoft wants to buy that from me, like they're going to. They're not getting it because I'm not selling, right? You control your own destiny when you control your own servers. So just keep that in mind, folks. Also, another thing Microsoft doesn't know how to do is they don't know how to package for Debian. Isn't that right, Tyler?
Oh, yeah. Yep, I heard about this.
Yes, this is hilarious, folks. I should have actually put their mistake on the screen, but I didn't think to until right now. But let me tell you, they have, in packaging, one of the things that you do is you, a lot of times, will have scripts that run either before the install, during the install, or after the install as part of Debian or RPM installs. RPM being mostly for Red Hat systems like CentOS, Fedora, and Red Hat Enterprise Linux, and the equivalent Debian packages, .deb packages, which most people are are probably familiar with, because most people use Debian or something derivative on top of it, like Ubuntu or something, or Linux Mint. So most of us are used to working with Debian packages and apt and all that. Well, because of that, Microsoft put a package out for one of their scientific analysis tools, which most of us probably would never use anyways, unless you're like a scientist, or somebody into data science and stuff like that. But they packaged it wrong. One of the things that they did was they actually deleted sh and then linked bash to replace sh. That is really a noob mistake. As I seen one of the articles I was reading the other day about it, I couldn't find the article. I don't know if they took it down or I just can't find it anymore in Google. But there was an article the other day, and it was just hilarious because they were talking about how stupid this was, and they said it was a noob mistake. And I thought to myself, as someone that was at once a noob programmer on Linux, would I have made this mistake? And
No.
I knew better from day one. It's like, this is not a noob mistake. This is a dumb mistake.
Yeah.
Like, this is pathetic.
By the way, I added the links to the description if anybody wants to go look at that.
Oh, thank you very much, Tyler. Tyler is very good at keeping up a lot of stuff on our YouTube channel. He does a lot of work on that. So thank you very much, Tyler, for the help there. Welcome. And I'm sure the audience appreciates it as well, as do I. But anyways, so the packaging situation with Debian, it's hilarious because they were literally, folks, getting rid of the sh shell and replacing it with bash. And it gets worse. That's not the only mistake they made. Another thing that they did in their installer script, I'm not even kidding about this, is they don't even check to make sure their program isn't installed before making changes. That's not something you're supposed to not do. You're supposed to check to see if you're already there, because you don't want to like default the config if somebody's already got it, right? You don't want to, if you're installing an update to Google Chrome and someone's already got Google Chrome, you don't want to reset their bookmarks for the update. Just saying. So say Google knows.
You don't want to just sit there and go, okay, well, delete all files, install new version. Unless, of course, it's Windows, in which case you constantly have to do that.
Yeah, but that's because it's a Windows
system.
Yeah, that's Windows in general. You got to reinstall it every 10 minutes to keep it from dying of a blue screen of death every hour or whatever. But I don't know what it was in Windows. I had more blue screens of death than it seems like anyone's ever had in their life. But I don't know.
I swear, I don't know what it was, but he must have the single worst luck ever. I've never... From what he's saying, that is more blue screens than you should see in your life.
It is. I mean, I had blue screens. I would have like 12 or 13 a year. It was common to have 1 or 2 a month for me. It was quite common. At times, I would literally have 1 or 2 a month. And then there was times, Windows 7 particularly, where I would actually be able to go a while without having blue screens. But you know,
Windows 7 for you. It's good.
Yeah, Windows 7 was actually not a half bad version of Windows, but Windows 8 and Windows 10, not so much. Anyways,
Windows 8.1.
Yes, Windows in general, really. But Windows 7, I would say, was the exception, not the rule of the quality of Windows. But anyways, so folks, like I said, they really messed up the packaging, and it was crazy. They didn't even check to see if they were there. I mean, Tyler, I know you're not really a developer. I know you know a little bit of C++, but could you see yourself, if you was to package something for Linux, making a mistake like this?
Oh.
No. See, folks, even Tyler would know better. So there you go. See, this is...
Somebody told me you need SH, period.
I mean,
you only have SH.
I mean, you don't...
Then maybe.
You don't delete something like that from someone's system. You just don't do it.
Just don't. It's not like it's going to hurt anything if it's not used.
Again,
it's just sitting there.
And I might remind everybody, because see, Microsoft is used to controlling people's systems, but let me remind everybody, in the Linux world, it's your system, and you actually are supposed to control it, not the company that's like putting stuff on it, right? I don't make a package for a Debian, for example, that's going to delete other users' stuff, right? And I think the other thing Microsoft apparently didn't get the memo on is, and I think this is the reason a lot of their stuff's not open source, if you ask me, is look at their code. If this is their code, you know, most people open source their best code. If they open source this, right, a Debian package you have the source of, if they open source this program plus open source their package, right, I mean, well, all packages itself are open source in the sense that you can see the install scripts and everything, right? The actual component of the package is. I don't necessarily mean the source code of the program, obviously, but just think about this for a minute. If they open source most people open source their best stuff. This script, right? They didn't try to hide it at all or obscure it, and it was really embarrassing. A lot of their code I've seen on GitHub is just depressingly bad written. If this is their best work, I'd hate to see their worst work, right? I mean,
because most Windows people, me.
Exactly.
Oh, wait, no, probably something worse.
Yeah, but
we're kidding.
Just think about this for a minute, Tyler. Doesn't most people, wouldn't you agree with me on this, that most programmers, they open source their best work, right? We don't open source the stuff we're embarrassed about, right? We don't open source our mistakes. Right? We don't intentionally open source stuff that's going to embarrass us. So if Microsoft is open sourcing stuff and it's buggy, a lot of it, the only thing I can say that I open source that I have not had issues with is VS Code. It's actually not that bad. But the fact is, it's built on Electron, which was made by GitHub before that Microsoft bought them. So that's
when GitHub was good.
Yes, and that's actually one thing that concerns me about the GitHub thing, by the way. Just circling back to that for a second. They built the Electron framework, which is what Discord and Skype and all of these different programs are based on top of. Think about this for a minute. They could mess up everything. They can't even just mess up GitHub. They could mess up everything. They can mess up Discord now effectively because the thing that it's built on, right, is this. The Wire voice over IP client, if you've ever used that also is Discord. There is so many apps on everybody's system, myself included, that is a Electron app, whether that's a Windows machine, a Mac machine, or a Linux machine. So you are affected whether you are in this group of open source users specifically or not. So yeah. I would be cautious here.
Too much stuff that's open source than you would think.
Yeah, there's a lot of open source stuff anyways, but a lot of closed source stuff is built on open source stuff. Discord's closed source, but it's built on top of Electron, which is built by the GitHub people. And so that's very concerning to me that they are effectively going to get their hands all over Electron. To be fair, Microsoft's been using Electron in a lot of their stuff. Like I said, VS Code's written on it for a long time in Skype. So, in a way, they kind of already are doing a lot with it. But, and I will say this, a lot of their Electron code is actually, a lot of the stuff they open source, I have to say their Electron apps are actually some of the best stuff they write. So maybe they'll keep the programmers that write Electron stuff so good on the Electron project and we'll be okay, right? Maybe we'll be okay. We can hope for that because, I mean, Linux specifically, a lot of the stuff we use, a lot of people don't like Electron. A lot of people do. Myself, I personally actually think it is a little bulky for sure. But actually, I have to say, as a developer, it's really flexible, and some of my stuff is written in it, and it runs well. And there's a lot of apps out there on Linux that I don't think would exist if it wasn't for Electron, just because of the ease of development. And so I think it's a good thing for the community overall. But yeah, with Microsoft now taking it over, maybe it's not going to stay good for the community because, again, they may mess it up, but they may not, right? We'll have to see.
You never know.
We'll have to see. And I might add, because Electron is an open source project, at least under the BSD license, at least if that they do mess it up, we can just fork the version that was good and then make Electron that isn't called Electron that's better, right? So that's possible.
It's Bettertron, I guess. I don't
know. Bettertron. That actually sounds like a good name, Bettertron. But no, seriously, like in a worst case scenario, they can at least fork the Electron code base someone and keep the good version alive for eternity, right? So hopefully, that's the nice thing about open source, folks. If you didn't know that, is you can actually fork someone else's code and keep it alive if they go a direction you don't want, like making it buggy, Microsoft stuff. But anyway,
Microsoft makes.
Yeah, any Microsoft product really. But there's also competitors to Electron. But that's something that concerns me a lot about the Microsoft acquiring GitHub thing. Well, any comments on that, Tyler?
No, not really, other than let's hope that they don't screw it up.
Yeah, pretty much, exactly. Because Microsoft has a tendency Microsoft has a tendency to do that a lot with a lot of the stuff that they end up acquiring. So let's hope they don't. But the thing is, like I said, if they do, we can just fork Electron and move on. But it is something that concerns me because is everyone going to use the forked version, right? That's still a problem. Electron has got really good adoption. Is every developer that uses Electron going to leave it? I have to get pretty buggy, I'd say, before that would happen. I'll probably be willing to leave it if there's a fork of it and it starts to get buggy pretty early on because a lot of my stuff's written in it and I don't want my stuff crashing.
Yeah, well, the fork, of course, not the buggy version.
Yes, of course, I'll move to the fork. But you know, we're putting the cart before the horse, as that saying goes, in that we may not actually have to worry because, like I said, it seems like most of the programmers that do Electron stuff at Microsoft, what I'm guessing is who will probably start writing the Electron backend, right? They probably already contributed to the source code before because Microsoft does have a lot of open source contributions under a lot of open source contributions. I think I'm saying that word wrong, but a lot of they commit a lot of code to repos for open source projects that's not theirs, I guess is what I'm saying. So I'm hoping that they will just take those people that was not breaking Electron, right, and was actually building good stuff on top of it and saying, here, go work on the back side of it too now. Go work on the back end of it too, right? And not destroy it, because we know you guys seem to be good at it, not destroying it so far, so maybe you can keep not destroying it. But we'll have to see. But like I said, I don't know though. Microsoft, even though a lot of the stuff's written in Electron, I started to say they'd have invested interest to not break it, but then I realized something. Even a lot of their Windows apps are Electron. But then I realized something about that. Microsoft breaks everything that they even need to not break for themselves. So we'll see. But anyways, guys, that's kind of my thoughts on the GitHub thing. And but just back to the packaging thing, and then we'll go to group news and close here in a minute. But because this is kind of a short meeting this week, but
really short.
Yeah, but anyways, so Microsoft does not know how to package for Debian. As the title of the broadcast says, they don't. I mean, like I said, they made multiple mistakes that is pathetic. And stuff like this concerns me. It really concerns me.
Yeah.
Microsoft, a lot of people are fine with them being in the Linux community. I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm really not. I'm all for anyone that wants to help out in the community joining. But Microsoft has way, way too much influence. They should have 2% influence, not 92% or whatever they've got, right? I mean, Microsoft, they have way more influence in Linux than I think they reasonably should have. They've got a lot of stuff. A lot of the stuff in Linux is Microsoft now. VS Code, very popular code editor. It's in almost all Linux repos. Skype, again, it's not open source like VS Code, but it is still Microsoft code running on Linux boxes. And I might add, that actually is an example of an Electron app that is buggy under Linux. I have issues with audio on it all the time, where it will connect to my sound device on Pulse Audio and then disconnect. And then about half a second later or a millisecond later or something like that, reconnect. And so I get audio that's like me turning the speakers on and off, muting them really fast. And it sounds really weird. So I have to use the web version of Skype on Linux, because if I don't, I get that result. But the web version doesn't support screen sharing.
Not good.
And so if you're wondering, my friends of mine, why I don't use Skype anymore, that's why. The Electron version, I was using it when it was in beta. And for a long time, it didn't have those problems. And then I guess somewhere down the line, some of the idiots at Microsoft decided to get involved. And here we go. But I shouldn't call them idiots. Let me correct myself. People that are not sophisticated enough to write good code. People that make mistakes a lot. I guess that. But yeah, idiots. Yeah, so I apologize to the. But I apologize. I'm gonna apologize. Yeah, sorry about that for calling them idiots. But no, seriously, I would say the least. I'm sure some of them are idiots, right? But I'm sure there's a few smart people at Microsoft, because there is people at Microsoft that can do good stuff in the Linux community. So, maybe they're not all bad, but I would say a lot of them are for sure. But I guess one of those non-sophisticated users, that's the polite way of saying it, right? One of those non-sophisticated programmers, engineers, whatever you want to call them, got in there and made a change. And maybe it was accidental. I have a tendency to believe Microsoft does a lot of stuff intentionally because their stuff's so buggy. But it's possible, considering most of their Electron apps are actually really good, that maybe those developers just made a typo. It's possible, right? I mean, I'm a programmer. I admit it's possible to make a typo no matter who you are. I don't know how that typo could have caused those audio issues, and it still worked. But, again, I don't know. I don't do Skype-style stuff in Electron, so it's not really my expertise anyways. But anyways, let's talk about group news now. So group news-wise, guys, starting today, we're adding the news section slide to every meeting. Well, what do you notice? It's the slide. We're looking at it right now on screen. So there you go. We're talking about the meeting slide on the slide. That's an interesting way to do it, but I thought that was a good idea.
Oh, that is too meta for me. My mind is gone.
Your mind is gone. In addition to that, we still desperately would like to have some guest speakers, because it seems like nobody wants to guest talk. We are seeing people watch the meetings, but nobody seems to want to participate. Well, we want you to participate. So if you have something you want to talk about that's Linux or open source or something in that general realm of the world that you'd like to talk about, maybe a project you're working on, an open source project you'd like to bring up, or just anything in general related to the topic. Maybe you made your own Linux distro. That'd be pretty cool. Like, for example, the Elementary OS dude, I forget his name right now, but he comes on a lot of stuff like this. So maybe at some point he'll want to come on and do a talk for us. I think that'd be great. Very smart dude. He would be one person I would really like to see do a guest talk here someday, but we'll have to see if he ever's interested. But anyways, it's possible. But anyway, so yeah, like I said, we do need guest speakers. If you want to speak at a meeting, please visit our website. It's going to be in the description below. But if you want to go to it right now from the broadcast, it is https:// vincentmaggard.com//internet-internet-linux-users-group. But again, that will be in the description shortly. I think Tyler was going to put it in
the description and post it in the chat real quick.
All right, that's great. That's a good point. You could have put it in the chat. Thank you for thinking of that. Anyways, guys, at this point, we're going to go ahead and get ready and conclude the meeting. So,
and do we want to talk about that one quick little thing real quick?
That's right. I forgot. There was one thing Tyler wanted to speak of in the news that we didn't put on the slide. Go ahead, Tyler.
Hello, Trevor. I didn't notice you there. Yeah, so this is just this is unrelated to Linux, but is related to tech in a small way, but this is just on a little side note. Apparently, from what I've been hearing and from what I've been seeing, tech YouTubers were all of them, literally everybody from Jay's 2 cents to Linus Tech Tips to you name it, they were accused. They were all accused of charging for going to the booths at CES. And now there's apparently lawyers involved in everything. So, yay for them.
So this story's a little new to me because I haven't heard of it except for right before the show. So could you kind of fill me and the audience in a little bit more about what's going on? I know you said that there was something going on with paying for booths or something.
Yeah, so there were some allegations going around from a couple YouTubers, and it kind of got big again. And what the allegations were that they were not disclosing that they were being sponsored, even though they say, and most of us assume that they were not getting sponsored at CES to go to different booths.
Okay, so basically, the news is implying that they were paid by particular companies to go to particular booths at CES and do coverage on those. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, or Computex. Was it Computex or CES that just concluded? I can't remember.
Well, CES is at the beginning of the year, so. But I was going to tell you.
It was Computex then. My bad.
So I was gonna point out something about CES, which is not even about CES, but paying for a booth there. As far as like to do your shows from and stuff, a lot of the tech networks actually do this. So I thought that's what they were implying for a minute, and I'm like, wait, is that what they're talking about? Because that's like standard procedure. It's like
no. Like the company's paying for them to get there.
Yeah. No, I understand. What they're doing now. They were being sponsored to effectively cover stuff as news. And yeah, I have a problem with that. I think we all have a problem with that. Just wanted to explain to the audience that it is quite normal at stuff like CES to actually, if you're a network and stuff, you can pay to have a booth to do your shows from there. If you want to like do stuff from the show for multiple days and have a place to set and everything, you can actually do that. But yeah, I mean, I have a lot of issues with the sponsorship not being indicated. We have a big issue with that in the internet these days with native advertising anyways, and it's depressing to see that the tech YouTubers are stooping to the level of this.
No. The thing is, that's the allegations that are going around, but as I'm thinking, I'm on the side of the tech YouTubers because I don't think they would even stoop that low because they clearly say sponsored by anytime that they have a sponsored video or anything. I mean, even Linus.
Yeah, that's true. They do indicate it. So, like I said, I'm not saying I believe it because I don't know. I'm just reporting on it. I don't know. Reporting on it was really not the word. We're commenting on it. I don't really know whether or not to believe it. I would say you shouldn't believe things unless you have the facts, and we don't have the facts. It seems like yet on whether or not they actually did this. You said there was a lawsuit, so I'm sure the facts will come out.
Yeah, Jay said that there were lawyers involved, so he couldn't really tell that much right now on his video that he did the other day.
Okay. Well, I think that's pretty much everything I want to say. And is there anything else you want to say on that before we go ahead and conclude the meeting?
No, not really. I think that's about it for today.
Okay, guys, in that case, I'd like to thank everyone for watching one last time here. Again, you can visit us online at the link on the screen, or you can also, as Tyler did a few minutes ago, put it in the chat. So you can put your, you can click the link in the chat there, and also it's in the description, thanks to Tyler. So again, thank you very much to Tyler.
You're very
Tyler,
welcome.
Tyler, where can we find you online if they want to
Yes,
find
on
you
my
throughout the
YouTube
week?
channel.
Alrighty, and everybody, they're going to put a link of that YouTube channel in the description. You can find me at vincentmaggard.com. We'll also put that in the description, and you can find me at youtube.com/vincentmaggard if you'd like interesting programming content throughout the week, etc. As I post videos on a somewhat odd basis, just based when I have
Somewhat
time.
odd.
Well, I mean, I don't have a schedule, so it's pretty much just when I have an idea.
Yeah,
For
who
a
doesn't
video,
have a
I have
schedule?
time.
Who does have a schedule? Oh yeah, actual YouTubers.
Yeah, and we actually have a schedule for this, and we're not following it very well. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and at this time, we're going to conclude the meeting. See you guys next time.
Okay. Peace.